This podcast contains discussions about sensitive topics, including mental health, alcohol and substance use, as well as suicide. It may also include strong language. The viewpoints expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the hosts. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know needs support, please reach out to a trusted professional or a helpline. Welcome to Twist the Throttle, the podcast where we crank open the throttle on life's toughest rides. From mental health struggles to life on two wheels. We're here to have real, raw, unscripted conversations that break the stigma and help you navigate the road ahead. So grab your helmet, hit the road with us, and remember, it's still okay to pump the brakes. Together, we're shifting gears on mental health. Here's your hosts, Ambo and the Prez.
Well, listeners, another week has passed. Today we've got Brendan from Family First. Welcome, Brendan.
How you going, guys?
Hey, good, mate.
Hey, welcome to the show, mate. We've got a pretty easy question to start you off. What are you riding?
I ride a 2014 Softail Deluxe.
And it's a very pretty bike.
It is, lots of polishing. I can see
There's a lot of chrome.
shinies.
A lot of
Parked next to my Heritage in the driveway there. Mine's all blacked out. Yours is all chrome. Definitely see which one gets more love.
Yeah. If you could have any motorcycle there, mate, what would it be?
Oh, I've had this argument. So it's the new Street Glide.
Oh,
Are you beautiful?
Yeah,
I took one of the STs out. Man,
Yeah, I went
yeah.
and sat on it, and the wife was in the shop, and she said, "No,
Have
you're not old enough to own one."
you ever heard the expression, it's better to ask for forgiveness
Than
than permission?
Yeah. I have had this thought go through my mind. Yep.
I'm looking at taking mine out to Morgan and Wacker and maybe trading it in and her bike, so we'll see what happens there. She'll be happy when I can tell her that. What's your favourite ride? Like, if you were to jump on the bike, where's your favourite place to head? You're a twisties guy, mountains, beaches?
Probably up towards Hillsville,
Yeah.
Black Spur. I actually haven't ridden it, but
Yeah.
my brother
Oh, well.
lives up there. But yeah, I'd like to.
The next
go there.
plan, we had the podcast
Last week.
and we are talking about getting the camera set up and doing some chases and whatnot through there and
Yeah.
get some video footage to run the podcast over top of, and I'm really liking the idea of doing that. So when we do that, I'll tee up with you and we'll go
100%.
for a bit of a blade. I quite like it up that way.
What's a quote or saying that you stuck with you throughout your journey? What's something you live your life by? You've got Taylor in the room with us here. She's going, yeah, he's got plenty of things he says all the time.
The one thing that comes to mind is when obviously you're going through shit is that you can't get mad at what you can't control.
Yeah.
So don't let it upset you.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
good.
control it. No matter how mad you're going to get, it's not going to change. It's going to stay the same. Just find ways to
Don't
deal with
sweat
it.
the small
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
You
it.
can only do what you can do.
Yeah.
Don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff. Is
Yeah.
Having a supportive upbringing and struggling with ADHD, how did you shape your experience growing up?
I think the issues I had with ADHD was back then, I'm not saying I was one of the first, but back then it was ADD. There was no H. It was just a deficit disorder that you had at school. So obviously self-segregation, not engaging with people, them not understanding who I am and my hyperactivity and being all touchy-feely and not understanding people's social cues. So I didn't get invited to parties. I
Yeah.
didn't get invited to go anywhere. I was the crazy kid.
The shithead kid.
Yeah, but I was the one that would always do shit that they asked me to do because I thought that's what they wanted to see, but it was just so they could laugh
Yeah.
at me and
Yeah.
watch me get in trouble.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's
No.
kind of bullying.
Well, it is, but again, because your mind isn't
Yeah, of
thinking
course
that
not. You
way,
just want to be friends with
Yeah,
everybody, yeah?
you do anything you can to try and get that approval from the
Yeah.
other groups.
Yeah.
And then
Sad, isn't it?
once high school hit, it's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to be your friend. These cool kids that are cool, they're shit.
Maybe my daughter actually listens to this one because, hey, she's going through the same thing. She didn't have to be cool for everybody else. She got in a bit of trouble at school the other day there. And
Yeah.
come on, you need to be a role model. She's only 13, but,
Yeah.
be the good person in the group.
Yeah.
Don't be the bad person.
Well, I got
and don't
four-
follow other people.
No,
you know?
I got 4 boys now. Like I've got my oldest is 15. I've got a set of twin boys that are 14. And at the moment now, it's the same thing. One of them's he's dabbling into the vapes and they're trying to, and his excuse is, I'm trying to be socially accepted. Like,
Yeah.
If that's what you need to have these people as friends,
Don't-
they're not your friends.
They're not the right people.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they're not the people you want.
So you're saying ADHD, did it get recognised back then?
Back then, yes and no. They didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it was like, this kid's out of control.
Just a bad kid.
And I literally got pushed through primary school. Like I got sent up from 3, 4, 5. I got kept back in 5. So I lost all my friends. They all went off to 6 and then off to high school. So I was stuck behind a year.
Yeah.
But obviously it helped me because I wasn't learning. And back then teachers didn't know how
if
to.
you didn't know the cookie cutter way of doing things.
Well, they didn't know how to teach a kid that was not absorbing it. I couldn't sit there and read something because I'd read it. And by the second page, I've forgotten the first one.
Yeah.
So that was the hard thing about trying to learn and keep it inside.
Obviously, I grew up ADHD as well. Didn't get diagnosed officially until like 2 years ago. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah, my whole life I just thought I was dumb because I couldn't remember stuff. Yeah, literally, that was what.
But you
I
know
just
so
had no
much
memory.
more stuff about other shit.
That's exactly right. When you hyper focus on something that's not important, you learn everything possible about that thing. Yeah. But yeah, that's the cookie cutter approach to education. If you don't fit in their box, you're not a smart person.
Yeah, we need to move them on.
I'm super smart. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I don't care about that, so I'm going to do this. My mum's got every school report from when I was grade prep, and every single one of them says, if Jeff's interested in a topic, he'll be at the top of the class.
Yeah.
And that's from like primary school, from like 5 years old, you know, so
yeah,
like, yeah, that would have been handy to know, Mum, thanks for that.
Well, that's what they did. That's what they did with me. I think it was 5 between transition from 5 to 6.
Yeah.
They sent me to a special school with, I think it was 6 other kids that were the same. But this was through the Austin Hospital out in Heidelberg. You went into a class situation where you had 6 teachers, 6 kids. So
a lot more.
You had that more because you thrive on that attention. And then once I started having that half day there and then half day back at school, and I started to understand simple maths problems, I couldn't tell the time until I was fucking 14. I'd look at a clock and go,
like,
what are the arms for? I don't get it.
Yeah. So in the chat beforehand, you said that you were the first kid to actually get trialled on dexamphetamine.
Yeah, so dexamphetamine, and back then they put me on they did trials on placebo. So they give me a whole list of drugs, and some of them weren't even drugs. They were they just see if it was more mental. So I was somewhat of a guinea pig back then.
Wow.
But then as soon as I got on dexamphetamine, which is a 5 milligram, 2 tablet in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, you'd watch me go from someone at a rave party and I'd take 2 tablets and I'd just steady all day.
Jeff has a very similar story.
Thanks for the trials, because that's what I'm on now.
Yeah, and then it'd get to lunch, around lunch, 12:30, and I'd be going up and up and up, and they'd be like, "Oh, have you had your afternoon medication?"
Yes,
no,
people could spot it.
Yeah, 100%. And the learning, like you said, if you're focused and you're engaged in a topic, and they'd go, write a short story. My short story would be 14 pages long.
Yeah, well, unreal.
It was just like, you just keep going.
Has a reverse effect for me.
Well, I learned that out.
I've had a couple of mates who are like, "Oh, I think I'm ADHD. Like, take one of these." They're like, "Fucking, whoa!"
No,
you're not ADHD.
You got a dry mouth? Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah,
so did that create challenges later on in life?
Yeah.
You become dependent, or
no? So I felt that when I was taking the medication, I think from 6 till year 7.
Yep.
It started to majorly suppress my appetite.
Okay, you were young to be doing tests on.
Well, back then they didn't know what the
I suppose, they needed to.
Definition of was, yeah. So I think that 6 to 7, and these drugs that I was on back then, they were literally medicated speed. Like they would, don't call it that, it was speed in a fucking tablet.
Or just, what should we call this? Oh, speed's probably the wrong word for it. Let's call it
dexamphetamine. Or Ritalin. So it started to mess with my appetite. I was playing competition lacrosse back then.
Yeah.
It wouldn't help with my sport. So I think it was between 7 and 8, I started saying, look, I'm going to start coming off this, which was a good thing, because they found out that now dexamphetamine wasn't really a good thing for kids to be on.
No.
And it was also turns in through ADHD kids, and medications are gateways to more things, which we'll get into a bit later on. But it helped in a way. It helped me find out more about myself and that what I can control and how I can carry myself during the day, and that's what I work to. So I think by the time I left school, I was completely off it. Still my hyperactive self, but inside I could work out how to control it.
More, so
type of the dude that would laugh at a funeral, thing. And you're like, it's probably not the time to be doing that.
No,
but look at the bird outside. That's so funny. So my attention was off, but now it's good. It's good now.
Is that just through cognitive behavior yourself, or is it
a lot of support?
Yeah.
So family, obviously, my wife. Now, I think I'm living a version of deja vu of what my mother went through. Because my oldest is ADHD, ASD. He's got, and I sit there and I think, God, I'm so sorry, Mum. Like as I say it to on a regular basis, I totally understand what I put you through and dealing with it now, seeing it firsthand from him, because you don't see it in yourself.
No.
You only see what people tell you. But obviously now with the support network, everyone every now and then will be like, that was a bit much. Maybe you should reel it in or tone it down a little bit.
Having a mouth that works quicker than your brain is not always a great idea.
So I keep saying my brain hasn't had a conversation with my mouth yet, and I'll apologise for what comes out next.
I often everyone's like, oh, you got such a quick wit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. You'll say something, I'll crack a joke. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, fuck, I really should.
That's that forgiveness comment
That's
again.
it.
So moving into adulthood, you had a lot of responsibility early, marriage and kids and a home. Looking back, do you think that pressure contributed to what's happened next?
Yeah, I'd say obviously at young, I think I was 24, 23, and I had 3 kids under the age of 3 by myself. Obviously got married. We had kids before we got married, but got married and I think it was in the first 12 months. Everything fell apart. I was introduced to ice for the first time. And I think from the first day that I actually smoked it, that was the end of my life for about eight and a half years.
I've only had one experience with ice. I was on a job in Perth and we were pre-bagging catalysts for a job up in Woodside and Karratha. And the truck driver that we were loading all the stuff onto that we'd taken out of drums and put into big bulker bags, we're loading those bulker bags on his truck and he was going to be there the next day. And I was like, how the fuck are you getting from Perth to Karratha tomorrow? And he says, I'll jump in the truck, I'll show you. Fuck. I had about far too many fucking of them. And I went out for the night for the board. Mate, I went back in there and we were smashing.
Yeah.
Getting everything done, but went out to Perth Casino at night time.
Yeah.
Met this kindergarten teacher and it was great. Chatted her ear off all night long. Anyway, jumped on the plane, went up to Karratha. That was the worst 2.5 week come down.
Yeah.
And I can understand why
people stay up.
People don't come off it, because it was fucking torture, So I'm lucky that my experience ended up that way.
So first time you took it, did you think this was just a one-time thing where you're all aware of the stigma around it?
So this stage, you're like, what, 20, I'm 23, 24, as I said, you're out with friends and you it was big back then when the pills were out and you have an ecstasy and back then it was speed. I won't sugarcoat it. We used to smoke speed out of a pipe or you'd snort it and you'd go out for the weekend. And I was sitting at home and I was fixing my motorbike in the shed and my mate came around and I'd just finished smoking the speed out of the pipe. And if anyone knows, you get the magic eraser and clean the end of the bile. And my mate was sitting there, he goes, nah, it's all good. I'll chuck in this one. I'm like, yeah, sweet, throw it in. Now, if anyone knows you smoke speed, back then you didn't get lots of smoke, it was just smoking what it was.
More a vapor than it's.
Yeah, that's it. So he sat it in and he obviously melted it down. And I literally took the first hit and I'm breathing in. And as I was blowing out, I lost breath. I was blowing continuous smoke. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Whole body covered in goosebumps and tingles. I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro? It's like, this is this new thing that's just come out. It's ice. And I'm like, I was up for 3.5 days for the first time. And then it was just a spiral. But then you learn to become I don't know if people understand it, a high functioning drug addict. So I still had the kids up, still took them to kinder, still packed their lunches, still picked them up. All through that, I was driving around smoking, at home smoking, just not working. So no, I thought it was, I didn't even know it was going to be a one-time thing, but turned into being...
It became very, very reliant on it very quickly.
An 8-year thing. So it was not good.
Yeah, I went, did some casual work with a bloke one time and he goes, why can't I find more guys like Dale? Dale's the best worker we've got. This guy's unstoppable.
You know why?
I'm like, dude, Dale's out in the car park right now smoking ice in the car. And he's like, what? I'm like, there's a reason the guy doesn't stop.
Doesn't stop, doesn't eat, doesn't drink.
Do you not know this?
Yeah.
It's like, he goes, I had no idea. I said, I could find you 15 more Dales if that's what you want.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm like, the work gets done, but no one's safe.
No.
Funny moment watching these guys go like, it all makes sense now.
Yeah. Seen plenty of those.
So you went from using to selling.
Yeah. So it worked out, obviously, I had full custody. Well, I had custody of my kids then. The wife had left. Well, no, the wife was still there. We were functioning. My parents had bought a house that we were living in, we were paying off.
Was your wife doing it as well?
No. See, this is the thing at
You're
the
hiding
start.
it from her?
No.
No,
So
she knew about it? Yeah.
full aware, never touched, completely clean.
Yeah.
Never went near it. So I started selling it. I think I sold it for probably three years and was just making stupid and copious amounts of money
Yeah.
because it was literally 0.1 of a gram was $100. And you got people coming every day. I'd have people rolling up, coming in and out of the house. Then I started people selling for me and
Yeah.
got pretty big. And then I think it was when the wife at the time ended up trying it for the first time. And then she was like me when I first started. It was, I need it every day. I need more and I need more and I need more.
And you had it.
But I had it, but
Yeah.
I wasn't making money off it then. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, no, now there's an issue.
Yeah,
You can't have it.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So how long, the cops come and knocked on the door. So this was 3 years later?
Three years later, I think I was out one night with a mate, stupidly. Obviously, we'd probably been awake 3-4 days or whatever. And I had a sawn off.
It was the fourth sunrise for that Monday.
Yeah. I think it was a sawn off. It was a sawn off 22. And I pulled up to the local servo and my mate was walking behind the counter. For whatever reason, I picked it up and I pointed at him as a joke, just like, fucking check this out. And I got back home. I think it was that next night or the next morning at like crack of dawn. Just fucking bang, 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 bang. What the going on here?
Yeah.
Where's the guns? Where's the gun? I'm like, what the fucking gun are you talking about? There's no guns here. So they came through, but they didn't come in for drugs.
They come in because you had a gun in the freaking service. Fucking service stations, I'm telling you.
So that was pretty much the spiral. That's what put me on the radar. And then obviously we moved house. We went to a new place. Drug addiction got really bad for both of us where my parents decided to intervene. I was getting too big. Like it was getting...
Yep. So you were working still?
No.
So
you'd stopped completely.
I wasn't working.
At this point when we'll go back. Once I got to the end of selling, I was working. I was doing CIT, which was cash in transit.
Yeah,
so I'd collect for all your major hi-fi retailers. I won't say their names, but all them, I'd go around, pick up their money, do their bank drop-offs.
Fucking a fucking important job too.
Yeah, so doing all their shit. And then obviously when that shit happened with the firearm, because I was in possession with
fucking job.
I lost my security license. I lost everything. I lost that proof of income.
That's when Mum and Dad found out what the fuck was going on.
That's when everything kind of started to spiral there. Then obviously the marriage was breaking up. There was more need for substance on her end. I'm not going to say part and parcel, but I said I was a high functioning. I knew what I could use. I knew what I had to sell and I knew what I had to pay back. So with the arguments and all that going on, family stepped in. I think it was my older brother and his wife took one of my oldest son. My mum and dad took my twin boys at the time, put me in a program, offered to put the ex-wife in a program. I went, she didn't, and she continued
down the wrong path.
I got clean. Moved everything back down to Melbourne, back in with the parents. And like you said, that program wasn't the part of my detox. That was the mental side of, I have a problem. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Because that's the first step. If someone's an addict or an ice addict or ever kind of addict, until you hear them say, I am at the bottom, I have a problem, I need help, you're not going to help them.
I've got a couple of mates. I was out in Melton for a long time there. So ice problem in Melton at the moment. And a couple of mates that were on it trying to help them get clean. And like,
you can't.
If you keep showing up, you're off your fucking nut. You're not trying.
Yeah.
I can't.
But that's the other thing is that a lot of people don't understand that inside knowledge to an addict, coming from an addict, is that unless you have all of that good intention, but unless you hear from them themselves say to you, I am at my bottom, I need help, everything you do up until that point
is useless.
It might make you feel good or feel like you're helping. You're not. And you need them to tell you. And that's when I said, after the kids had been taken and I got home, my 2 week, I think this was the fourth year I'd been on it. And this is the first time, because I did a couple of relapses there. Back to the parents, I think I slept on the couch for 2 weeks straight.
Yep.
The pain, the muscle spasm.
It's how you dealt with it. It's going to sleep.
The sweat.
Mhm.
The actual detox, yeah.
Yeah. And then that was hard because I did that at their house and then went back to the house I was living in to find the joint had been fucking ransacked. You know, they took sheets off my kids' beds. They took the hi-fi system. They took the television. They took
destroyed everything too. Yeah.
Yeah. They took everything. So that was that was my first rock bottom.
Yeah.
Where at that point I'd lost the kids. I hadn't lost the kids. They'd been taken.
Yeah. See,
obviously for the better. And that 2 weeks was absolute hell.
So you said you got clean for about 8 months. An old friend kind of dragged you back in.
That old chestnut. I was at another service station.
Fucking service stations. We've got to say that again.
I was at a servo. I was filling up and mate looked over and he's like, Brendan, what's going on? It's like, hey, mate, how you been? Guy I went to high school with.
Yeah.
It's, I'm just going to meet up with some boys and blah, blah, blah. It's like, good to catch up. And then I could tell.
Yeah.
I could just tell by looking at him like you can, an addict.
Didn't the alarm bells go in your head going, maybe this is not a great idea?
No.
No, you're like fucking.
Because I was in my.
You know, the road was real hard to get to where you were at that time. What made you change your mind?
I'd moved back to my childhood home. I didn't know anyone. I had
lonely.
I had no friends. I was no friends there. I was trying to navigate removing that friend list that I had in my past life to there. And he was a good mate at school. And then I was just like, I'll give him a ring. That was probably the worst decision, was giving him a ring, going to catch up, and there we are, just sitting right there. And as you know, as a recovering addict, you're always recovering. You're always in recovery. You never completely.
Oh, even now I don't smoke and I don't vape. I was addicted to both for fucking years. I used to just roll up old dry leaves behind the school and smoke that at fucking the age of fucking 11, So I know, like, I still struggle. I think I woke up, was it this morning or yesterday morning, and the first thing I thought about was I'd love a fucking smoke right now.
Yeah. I can't do smoke. I could shock them with vapes now.
Yeah, it's bad. Coming off the vape, it took, I think I was a right fucking asshole to be around for about 2 weeks. Yeah.
It's standard with those.
So how old were you at this point?
So we're still 24, 25 now. Went over, met up with him, met up with the friends, and obviously started to get back on it in secret. Again, still doing everything with the kids and being high functioning and still... But I'd carry. Do you remember the old detachable head unit cases for your car?
Yeah.
Take your head unit out, put in them little black cases. I had literally had one of them tucked in my waistband everywhere I went.
Everything you need. Yeah.
Everywhere I went. Like, it could have been a christening, could have been a wedding, could have been anywhere. I had that case there that had the pipe, the magic eraser, the straw, scoop, and a bag of gear.
Yeah.
And I took that fucker everywhere.
How long did that stint last? So getting back into it again, how long?
So that was 4 years, about 4 years, another 4 years of that. But that was at parents, and then I ended up getting a unit out here, Doreen Way, which was just started to be developed, wasn't really known about. And that's when I was just
got wild.
Still getting wild. I was running a reptile shop, but again, I had that case everywhere where I went.
So how was it? You're funding it through work?
Just work. So I was working, obviously, back then you could work and still collect family assistance and all that stuff on the off week. But again, I knew what my limits were. I didn't have money. It makes sense.
Yeah, bills are paid and all that stuff.
So about the start, they were paid. Everything was functioning. I was that high functioning addict then. And then I fell into a major spiral. The drugs really took over. I started lacking. But again, I wouldn't eat. I'd make sure my kids were fed and make sure my kids would go to daycare every morning, where I met my now current wife. She was the kids.
That was going to be one of my questions. When did you show up on the scene?
She showed up once I'd moved from my parents after my 8-month clean, and then in that dabbling stage of finding a unit, getting my kids, because they were currently back down in where they were living with their mum at the time, and
Mum was doing better?
No, Mum was doing worse. Mum was jumping house to house, and I found out that the kids were getting shuffling around. There was no stability. So that was another
kind of 10-ish, 8-ish.
No,
young.
the kids were 2 and 3.
Oh, so
they were young. Yeah. So I found out that was going on, and that was another kick in the pants. Is like,
Yeah. What am I doing?
do something. So I got the job, I got the house, I went down to pick them up, and then when I left, I sent her a text saying, as of today, the kids won't be coming back.
Yep.
They're
Okay.
staying in my custody until you get yourself sorted, and that's what are we on now? The kids are 15 and 14.
Yeah. Good.
So I got custody of the kids. I had to find a school or a creche kinder. That's where I ran into my wife, Taylor. She was a creche teacher. Yeah. So that's another funny. So they
drop the kids off, pick the missus up.
Yeah. So we go back to the finding myself accommodation for the kids or a house place. We had a little unit in Doreen. I started getting the kids into daycare, but again, kids are at daycare every morning. I was there to pick them up most afternoons.
Yeah.
And then I was still going through the dabbling in drugs and just trying to get by and live and all that sort of stuff.
At this stage, were you hiding it from Taylor? Or was Taylor aware of the going?
I don't think she knew at the start.
Yeah.
I don't think she had an idea. Because as I said, because of the ADHD and that high personality, unless you knew me as anything different, you wouldn't think I'd change. Because I could come in high and I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't think she knew at the start, no.
Yeah, so my ex-partner, she was she got in a bit of trouble. She had her own business, she had a beauty business, and during that whole time, I didn't have a clue. People around her didn't have a clue.
And you won't. There's a lot of people. I was surprised about the amount of professionals, like high blue collar professionals, that are doing it. In some of the places that I used to go and sell to,
probably still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Like these aren't the normal people I deliver to. Like, and it's still going on now. Like,
yeah, it's a problem.
It's definitely a problem.
So you described this period of your life of your Sons of Anarchy lifestyle. I had a bit of a giggle when you said through that. What was that like from the inside? Like, what are you talking about there?
So there was when I started gravitating towards
Bike clubs,
the bike life.
Yeah.
That brotherhood, the camaraderie, you give them a ring, they're there to help you. And obviously my poor current wife, Taylor, was left at home with the 3 kids. So I'll backtrack quickly is when the kids graduated from creche and went off to primary school, they'd obviously left her care, but she continued to come and visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she still says to this day, I only came to see the kids. But she come to see the kids, check on the kids, make sure they're right. Obviously at this point she knew and just kept coming and then eventually stayed. The Sons of Anarchy lifestyle was that if you don't know much about clubs, you go through your hang around period or knock around. I was just, I'd go and do
errands.
I won't incriminate myself, but
whatever was asked of.
Whatever's asked, or they needed something picked up, or you go and do that. And I was in really deep to the point where I was a non-patch member riding a President's motorbike. I'd go and pick it up from the custom shop and bring it back to his joint and do all that sort of stuff. And then, you get your nomination.
Yeah.
You get your second.
Yeah.
When I came home and told the wife, and she said, I'm telling you now, if you do that, I'm gone. And that was still in that craziness of the drugs. And so, that was another crazy life. But I was out to all hours of the night, high, 4 or 5 in the morning, come home, and I'd sit in my shed. I had my garage set up with me 2 computers. I had the lazy boy in there, and I'd live it. I'd lived in the shed. Pretty much, kids would come in and say, "All right, we're going to school," and I'd be asleep in the armchair, and it was sick. It was pretty shit.
So your house was raided, you're arrested, and your wife told you she was leaving.
So, that house, that's the second house we got.
Pretty harsh way to say it.
Pretty much it was. So I was sitting, where was I? Taylor had just cleaned the whole house. So at this point when she cleaned the whole house, she
fucking pain in the ass. She could have done it before.
She had a thing when she cleaned the whole house, all bedroom doors were open and all sliding windows were open, right?
Yeah.
And I had cameras on the roof. I had cameras on the sides of the house. So I could see anyone coming in from the bottom roundabouts coming up my street. I'm sitting in my chair, in the armchair in the garage, and I'm smoking away. I look over to the monitor and I just see cop cars coming down. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. And I'm like, oh, maybe they're not coming here. Sure enough, bustling through the front. There's a paddock out the back. They're at the back. Dog's going off. I'm sitting in the armchair. So I'm like, shit, what do I do? I'm like, I need to run inside and close all the curtains, close all the windows. Pretend I'm not home. Well, Taylor's left the whole house. Everything's open. Every window's open.
Run through the house to shuttle the windows.
Every curtain's open. So I'm sitting there. I'm literally sitting there in a lazy boy. I've lit up the pipe with the jetty. I've just hammered down as much as I could, and they're just bang, 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 bang. Search warrant, police. I'm like, bang, bang. I'm just sitting on the chair. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. There's a back door to the garage, which every house has now that accesses into the shed from the backyard. Now, I have a pity bull test. One of them tried to get over the fence. She got onto him, and then I think they ended up spraying her or something. Yeah. She ran off. And I thought I'd locked that door. So I'm just sitting in my armchair again. I'm just blazing away, trying to get as much into me as I can because I knew this is going to be...
You're not going to...
I'm fucked.
It's going to be the last time for a while.
Yeah. So I thought, all right, here's another addicted thought. I'm just going to throw a blanket over myself.
Just hide.
I'm not even kidding. So I sat back on the lazy boy.
I'm really still.
I grabbed the blanket and I've literally just gone, and I'm laying there. And as they've opened the door, they've come in. They were heavy machine gun, like
they're the full on
whatever guns they've got.
They knew who they were coming for.
So I'm laying there, and then they're like, "Where is he?" So they're talking to the dog. So the dog at this point now loves these police.
Yeah.
And she ran straight into the shed. Where is he? Where is he? And I could feel her at my feet. I flicked the blanket up. And I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing in my head? Get the fuck on the ground!" Throw me on the ground. They've put cuffs on me, and so at that point. Obviously, I was in...
Poor Taylor's at home.
No, Taylor's at work. So we'll get to that. So they've handcuffed me. They've walked me into the house. They've gone, this is our search warrant.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What did I have? I had boxer shorts on. That was it.
Where were the kids?
Kids at school.
Oh, right,
So everyone was away. And it was weird because it was a weird time of the morning for them to come.
Kind of happened at the right time. Good.
But what I reckon they'd seen was either I dropped them off or Taylor dropped them off. I think I dropped them off and they'd seen me come back and seen Taylor go and knew that I was home and thought, let's go now. So I'm in custody at this point. They hand me the warrant, the search warrant. It's got on there like chemicals and stuff for manufacturing of methamphetamine. And I'm like, you guys are way off. Like, what the fuck? Like, I got none of this shit. And so they came in anyway. I think it was like 4 hours, and I'm sitting in the lounge, and I think the start of the raid, I don't know if you understand, when they do a search warrant, you obviously have to be present for each room when they do the search.
No, I don't. But
so when they
listeners probably don't either.
So when they come in and do a search, if they want to search like each room, you need to be present in each room.
Right.
So I was sitting there, and he went into the shed and found some shit in the shed. Long story short, comes out and goes, "Oh, what's that?" It was a little mint tin with rock salt. The kids had made shakers in Kinder. And then there was like a police lanyard. They put their IDs on, and he's like, "Oh, well, what's this stuff?" I said, "Oh, no, it's yours." Because no, I was in your shed. I'm like, "No, mate, I've been sitting here the whole time you searched that room. So anything you found in that room now is admissible." The sergeant come in, and I'm like, "Well, they haven't taken me around every room." He's like, "These constables," and he's like,
"Yeah, idiot."
So at this point, they take me to every room, searching for all the stuff. They couldn't find anything. At this point, I had a front lounge room, which was floor to roof with reptile tanks. I had snakes. I had fucking everything in there. And I had one little weed plant, literally the size of, a cigarette lighter in the cage because it was perfect humidity. Blah, blah, blah. Did me for cultivation of I'm like, it's not even marijuana yet. Like, if I get caught with a gram, you'll give me a warning. But a plant that's... Anyway, so they didn't find anything. But they found all the stuff that I was doing online because I spent 48 hours out of a 24-hour day on the computer just rorting shit and ordering stuff from online and doing it. So that's where they caught me. So I got done for the fraudulent credit cards. What else was there? There was obviously drugs in the house. I got questioned. I think I was in custody for about 15 hours. They gave me 1 glass of cup. 2 pieces of buttered bread.
Yeah, they're not very nice. I've been in the system before, and it's a little bit of a story to that one. But I got handcuffed, thrown in a cell, and I got left there, fucking in my boxer shorts, while there were ants crawling all over me.
Yeah, it's not good.
And they come in and made me sign a document to say that I got treated fucking
fairly. Sergeant
yeah?
come out. Are you happy with your treatment? Well, if I say no,
I went home and I got straight on to the police ombudsman, and I wrote them like a full on. Fucking of what happened, and they dropped the they dropped the fine. I said, "Look, I'll attend your drug rehabilitation program." But drop the fine, drop the charge. They did.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But I couldn't feel my arm. I've been in handcuffs.
It's not good
for fucking 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, it's fucked. So during the search, they saw a picture of Taylor on the wall of a guy running the raid, and he said, "Who's that?" I said, "That's my wife. That's my partner at the time."
Yep.
And he went white.
He knew.
He ran out the front, and because I had affiliation on my file, he ran out the front. And little did I know that his kids went to her childcare.
Oh, wow.
So he's seen her on the wall
Yeah.
and gone, "Holy fuck!" Knew who I knew. Was like, I need. So he rang her work.
Yep.
And I said, "Do you know what's going on?" With totally unprofessional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had me in custody for nearly like 10, 11 hours. She didn't even know.
Yep.
Yeah.
At that point, they rung her work, tried to pretty much say, don't give him any information about me or my family or my kids or addresses. I don't need her to get your address. It's simple. But so that was probably the most humorous part of that raid, when he saw my wife on the wall and went running out the front. And then they're like, "Well, you need to get the marijuana plant out of the snake tank." It's like,
you can do that.
I'm handcuffed. So they were at the back at this point. They put them at the front. They said, "Can you get all the snakes out? We need to check the bedding." And I'm like, I had inland taipans, I had dry death adders, I had
Snakes.
I had
Not snakes you
heaps of
handle.
shit. Yeah, so
They're venomous.
Yes,
yeah, very. So I put them in tubs, and then at this stage, the sergeant had gone out to make his panic phone call, and I have a snake tucked in my handcuff, and I'm sitting there going, "Well, what do you want me to do now?"
Yeah.
And they're all standing outside the house again because every cop they brought had a snake phobia. And they're like, the sergeant, I'm like, "Well, who's running this fucking show? Like, I've got a snake wrapped around." They threw the handcuff keys in through the door. I said, "Take them off, get them all." And they searched everything, obviously didn't find it. Sat in the cell, like you said, I was handcuffed for hours. My hands were going numb. I'd got me bread. They'd stripped me naked. They got me to open up my ass cheeks, got me to cough, squat, just totally took every
that's
liberty that you have.
What they got to do, unfortunately.
And I walked out.
It does demoralise you. They don't know you realise where you are. It's a fucking cold wake-up call.
It's definitely, it hits you hard, knowing that this will be your life every day.
Yeah, no shit. I am an ex-prison officer.
Yeah, right.
I didn't make it all the way through, unfortunately. There you go, podcast listeners. Another bit of fucking you and information.
Yeah.
So not a very nice life to be living.
No.
Did you end up spending any time in remand?
Never made it.
No, never
so
made it.
After all the times
that's a good thing, buddy.
Oh, 100%. And I thank whoever it is that's watching that.
Well, there's your chance, eh? You got to remember.
I don't know who was looking over me or whatever, but
moving this back in a bit more positive direction. You went cold turkey in recovery.
Yep.
And you've moved yourself down to Geelong. What was it was like having to rebuild from scratch once again?
Again, hard. So that was, the wife said, "If you don't get clean as of now, I'm gone. That's it." And at the time, my parents were building down here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, why not go and check out Geelong? And it was far away. So from where we were, it was far. So we moved down, found a few places. And during that, obviously, I had to do that. If you can make it through that first 2 weeks of being clean, it's hard. But if you can make it through
you'll be right.
That 2 weeks period and get the right help and support, you should be okay. Starting again was hard. Starting in a new place, trying to find employment was hard. Trying to find a rental down here then was very hard. At this stage, I've got obviously Taylor and the boys with me, great support network. I started engaging into the Salvation Army. Obviously, I was still sole carer of the kids.
Yep.
They were in primary school at this time. Went and started talking to the Salvos. A guy called Peter Hobbs. He took me in, got me to help with his programs, help with his youth groups on Friday nights, going out on the...
Gave you purpose, mate.
Took me out on the van every Friday night. We'd go around Geelong, go and talk to the homeless people, give them, toiletry packs and clothes and food. And I had no idea how bad that was down here. So that gave me that purpose.
Yeah.
Something to do, something to be a part of. Obviously, still trying to find employment and work. But I think it was a good year and a half, 2 years I stayed doing that. And then it was like, okay, I think I'm right to go back into the proper workforce and get proper work and do all that sort of stuff. So I kind of moved away, still stayed doing the van, Friday nights for the homeless. And was it the youth group Friday night? With all
good food for the soul, isn't it? Helping people less fortunate. I
got to go do a youth camp at Phillip Island. It was Summer Carnival, which is a Salvation Army run for Salvation Army program kids and all that sort of stuff. That was really good. That was a couple of days down there. as a cadet leader, came back and just got back into the swing of things. Yeah, so starting again, it was hard. It was hard to move, but as I said, my parents were moving down anyway, so we knew they were going to be around. Taylor got herself a job working in childcare. She's always been doing, so it was pretty easy for her to transition over to a new centre. And I just stayed doing kids at home, pickups and all that sort of stuff while she was the main breadwinner at that point.
So in about 2022, you took it further and you founded Family First. Was that?
So yeah,
getting back into it yourself, like starting your own thing.
Yeah. So that was the same. It was like I need to find something.
A bit of drive.
And it was the same as your situation we talked about off air before about COVID. During COVID, everyone had a lot of time.
Yeah.
Everyone had a lot of time to think, and you can either go in one direction or the other. And I was like, I'm over
fucking up
and just not having that purpose. And I don't know about you guys, but when you do something so gratifying for someone else or a family, or that feeling you get when you give it to them, that is like one of the best highs you can have.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was sitting there with my best mate Chris at the time during COVID. Obviously, we couldn't travel for work from Melbourne to here. So he came and stayed with me, changed his address so he could still get to work because his work was here, but he was in Melbourne. We're sitting around and we're like, we need to start something. Like, we need to get something going. And we went through that many names and what to look for. Like it was another one, Brothers for Life. And then I did a bit of research. I'm like, oh, wow, that's a pretty big prison gang. I'm not going to, I don't know if you know about the Melbourne old gang scene in Melbourne. Their Brothers for Life were pretty huge. So I was like, no, we can't be called that.
That's just
and there was heaps of stuff. And then Taylor's father always used to say, and grandfather used to say that it was always family first. That you don't have to be blood to be family, but
family first.
Family always.
I love the name.
Yeah, so
that's good.
We started off as Family First Apparel, which is just
clothing.
Just the clothing, guys getting around, riding bikes. Back then I had a 2006 Hyosung.
No.
GTS, TR, whatever they were. But
with the aluminium gearbox.
Yeah. Cheapies.
Yeah.
Cheapies, but at least you're on two wheels.
Yeah, that's right. So we started that and then, we didn't think about fundraising or anything like that until there was a need for it that we saw. Once we'd come out of COVID.
Can you share a story about Family First that made a real difference in someone's life?
I got a call from Geelong Harley. My mate's the general manager there. And he said, look, they've got a guy here that has a sister that's got some issues. She's got FND, which was obviously a disabling disease from the waist down. She woke up with it one day. And the NDIS wouldn't cite it as a disability. So she didn't have all the funding that she needed because it is recoverable. If you had met her and you'd be like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you guys want to run an event? And obviously I'd run an event or a charity fundraiser at that point, but I got together with another group, GTM Bobbers. You would have spoke to Steve a few weeks back, got together with Steve, my wife, Nick, and a few of my other mates, Chris, and we just sat down and so how are we going to do it? And we just said, let's just hit community. And we hit the ground running, and then we were getting venue. So we had the Lara Sporting Club donated. Their venue was offered to us for nothing. We had 30-something sponsors, 35 sponsors come. We had car show, we had the bike show, we had the Lions Club there. It was one of the best things I think we'd ever did. I think we raised just over 8,000.
That's wonderful.
For her to get things that she needed to help out the parents.
It's one of those things where I don't think a lot of people realise the work that goes into charity events.
Oh, it is
insane.
It's 24/7. Once you commit to it, it's crazy. Like we did our breast cancer awareness ride, which is the one big ride we've run since we've been incorporated with our club.
Yeah.
And it was 8 people, 3 months, flat out. And it's just
organising stuff.
Everyone's like, it's just a ride. Like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not. So you need that. You need that backing.
Goes into it,
Yeah.
Your campaigns have tackled issues like breast cancer awareness, suicide awareness, and mental health. Why is it important to you to use your platform for these causes?
Like I said, with Family First, we didn't set out to be about mental health. It needs to be about things that are important to us or
to all the family,
other people that we're connecting with. So we've got my wife's best friend's husband hung himself 2 years ago now. So
you did something for suicide
awareness. We've got his T-shirt on now, which is the suicide colourway with the FF, and the wife come up with the slogan on the back. And it's talk, listen, and save a life. The ability to start that talk, have the ability to listen to them,
talk,
hear
listen,
them,
save a life,
and you might save their life in the end.
You've got the semicolon tattoo on your face, which I've always loved. The guy you're talking about from Geelong Harley.
Yeah.
Nathan's got the same one.
Yep.
We're not finished yet, basically. Yeah.
Just the start of a new beginning.
Yeah.
What my wife Taylor has it on her middle finger. So
Yeah.
if you
Love it.
just fuck you mental health.
Yeah.
But
It's a good conversation start.
it is.
Definitely.
And
I like that.
I did it in white.
Yeah.
Just because it's more for me. I don't want everyone
that's
needs
right.
to see it unless you're close to me, like and close in my circle. You wouldn't know it's there because you can't see it.
So we've got a Mental Health Matters ride coming up very soon. You're a part of as well. We've got a group, Southern Brotherhood. Who else we got involved there, Jeff?
Russ Nuts, Twist the Throttle,
G-Town
Bobbers, Family First.
That's coming up soon on the 22nd of March.
22nd of March. So this will be coming out on the 8th. The Mental Health Matters ride is a combined ride where a lot of the local communities, a lot of them from down Geelong Way.
Yeah.
I remember the one I forgot, Old Huggy Bear. So we're going to have a
ride.
big ride. It's going to be in support of Dolly's Dream, which, speaking of suicide.
Yeah, Dolly's Dream was my idea.
Yeah, so,
if you haven't heard about Dolly's Dream, have a look at
have a read of it. Yeah, it's definitely worth the read.
Yeah, so the idea is to combine the community, get everyone together, get everyone on the same page. Like we're all pushing in the same direction. We all want, to help each other and break the stigma of mental health. You've done some great things. You've obviously got some bigger things coming up in the future. What's the next big plans on the horizon for Family First?
Next one's going to be the annual Marks ride. So that will be on the 15th of March. Yep. It's a Saturday because Sunday rides hurt my brain. It's going to be a Saturday ride. It'll be
again, I'll link that for everyone in the show notes.
So that'll be on the 15th of March. So it'll be just before the combined Mental Health Matters ride. Yep. And we ride from Barwon Heads Pub.
Yep.
I think we get there 10:30, stands up at 11. We ride through down the back past the golf course, head into Lawn, go down through Great Ocean Road, and we'll do a stop at Mark's Point where we spread his ashes. Everyone gets together. We just have a break, have a chat.
Yeah.
Let the family, obviously my wife and her mum and her sister and the kids go down and we just hang out there for a bit and then we all do a group photo like we do every year.
Cool.
We usually stop under the sign as well, the Great Ocean Road sign, and get a photo there every year. And then
I think that's mandatory.
Yeah, that's good because the tourists love it as well. The tourists start going nuts over photos. We had
especially when you're pulling.
Yeah, we had
30 odd bikes and stuff.
There was a few there last year, which was good. So we'll head off to Mark's Point, and then once we're done there, everyone gets together. I usually do a token burnout from there.
Yeah,
and whoever follows behind me, whatever, and then we take off to Lawn, have lunch, and then head back. So we've got the new tyre on the back.
Yeah,
put on last week.
I'll blow my last couple of seconds anyway. So lastly, if you could go back and talk to yourself, your 19-year-old self, what would you say? What would the advice be? Yeah,
listen.
Yeah,
just fucking listen to the advice from friends and family.
Say no to drugs.
So say no to drugs. Yeah, just listen. Be more open-minded back then. I know it's hard because you're in that stigma of being a young, crazy adult, but just listen to people.
Yeah,
people, old heads that have, the OGs. Listen to them. They're not there saying shit just because they like to hear their own voice. They're telling you because they know where you're going.
Yeah, that's right. Plus, there's a lot of people that have been through what you've been through as well.
Yeah.
So if you're actually having trouble with drugs, you can reach out to people and get the help.
Yeah.
Speak to somebody.
You can still look, and again, with the family first thing is that you can still be on the drugs.
Yeah.
If you're still on the drugs and you're trying to find a way out and you don't want to sit there and listen to it, because when I went through counselling, it was all you do is sit there and talk about drugs.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a room with you for an hour every day talking about drugs and taking drugs and drugs. That doesn't help.
I don't want to think about it. I want to think about something else.
And if you're still on addict or whatever and you want to reach out, send a message.
Yeah.
We can go somewhere. You don't have to tell me what you're on. You don't have to tell me what you're doing. I don't even have to see you do it. But just to have someone there that you can ask the questions and how did you do it?
Yeah.
What worked for you? Because you're an ex-addict. How did you get through it? And I'll support. I've had a couple of mates reach out and say that line.
It's a long road, but I'm here to help you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you, Jeff, as well, we're all in the same boat. I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanna get everybody on the right path. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not here to save the world, but if one person messages me on Facebook and says, "Can you help me?"
Yeah.
That's the point
Of one,
That's the
you
point
know?
of this podcast. Getting guys like you on who have been through the shit.
Yeah.
If one person relates to you and one person hears that and goes, well, maybe there's a chance for me, then we're doing something.
Yeah, that's it. And it only takes one. One person, you just for you to help one person.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Yeah.
And then that'll go on to the next person. But hopefully the stigma gets dropped, and that obviously men talking to men and people talking to problems and stuff like that. The 2% tattoo.
Yeah.
Do you know about the 2% tattoo?
No.
So this is a statistic I worked out during addicts. Only 2% of drug addicts actually make it through to the end and stay clean. 2%.
Wow, that's such a small number.
So I was like, that's my next tattoo. I want my 2% tattoo. It'd be 9 years this year. 9 years clean this year.
Yeah, good work. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thanks. I appreciate it. So that'd be the next thing when I did, you need to know lots about useless shit and knowledge and all that.
Fair.
When I read up about it, I was like, I didn't believe that only 2% of addicts actually make it out the other end and stay clean. So
that's crazy, man.
That's good.
But it's good.
Let's hope we can get some more 2%ers through.
That's it.
Thanks for sharing your story. It's been real raw and inspiring. Where can people follow Family First or get involved?
Mainly, we're on we're on all of them. So we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook. Obviously, I think I use Facebook a lot more.
Yeah.
I dabble in Instagram. I don't understand the algorithm half the time on how to post shit, and it's like Samsung versus Nokia. I don't get it.
He's an Instagram addict.
I'm on Instagram flat out, and I still don't fucking understand.
I can't even just post a simple story. I don't get it. You got to do it. I'm not even getting into it.
Yeah.
So you can message on any one of the 3 platforms. Someone will be there. There's probably a group of 4 of us now, obviously, including my wife.
Mm-hmm.
She's now deep into her study, doing her drug and alcohol, her inclusion support, her mental health. So she's just
very good, Taylor.
Going off.
We may get you back as a guest on your own one time. Have swap chairs.
I will not be present.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap things up here?
Just if the last thing I can leave you with, if you are struggling, and this is coming from personal experience, if you are struggling, just talk to someone, talk to somebody. I'm dealing with my own shit at the moment, and I'm struggling to take my own advice. You just ask somebody for help.
Yep.
Talk. There's always someone there to talk to, whether it be your partner, a family, a friend, anybody. Just start the conversation. Yep. Talk to somebody.
Speak up, even if your voice shakes.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that line.
That is good.
Yeah.
Lastly, what does Twist the Throttle mean to you, brother?
This is amazing. I'd never even experienced anything like this. You guys are awesome. I love the beards. I love the atmosphere. I see you've got sober on your hand as a tattoo.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you, man. That's awesome.
3 years off alcohol.
You're covered in rust. I love it,
brother.
Yeah, I love it. But no, I appreciate what you guys are doing. This is awesome. Awesome way to get the message out. Have the ability for people like me to come on and express the story and what we're going through. And what
pretty deep story, mate. I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. And once again, thank you very much, listeners, for getting on board. Reach out in the comments section. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for riding with us today on Twist the Throttle. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Remember, no matter how tough the road gets, you're never riding alone. Stay safe, stay open, and catch you on the next ride. Keep that throttle twisted.